Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Dr. Corleone?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Dr. King?
Here.
Dr. Modrak?
Here.
Mr. Morello? Mrs. Noe?
Here.
Mr. O'Brien?
Here.
Mr. Palm?
Here.
And Genevieve Lake? And Jay Sarah?
Here.
Quorum present.
Okay, thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Jim, please read the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law Statement.
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public who have been advance notice to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, Montville Township Board of Education approved this meeting date. Notice of the meetings in the course of the Montville Municipal Building, all Montville Public Schools, the Montville Public Library, the Montville Township Board of Education Administrative Office Building, the Montville Public School website, and advertised in the Daily Record.
Thank you. I'm just going to change the order a little bit of the agenda because I see we have both of our high school student representatives, and if I stuck to the agenda absolutely, then I'm sure they want to stay for the reception, but by doing it this way, they don't have to stay for the reception. So, please, Jay, Genevieve, we're enthusiastically awaiting your report.
Fantastic. So starting off with sports, the golf team has been having a spectacular season. They continued their success at last week's county tournament. Senior Mitchell Korsen placed 9th and senior Matthew Schwartzman placed 16th. The team is currently preparing for the state tournament next week. The track team competed in the county tournament and the East Coast Relays last week. The team had many competitors, including Alex Rogers, who took home first place in the men's shot put. The baseball team won its first state game yesterday, beating Vernon by a score of 3-1, and the team will continue the tournament later in the week. And the softball team season ended yesterday, but it was with a spectacular win against West Milford that all players will remember. While the seniors were quite emotional after the game, 3 stellar varsity freshmen and other spectacular players are sure to keep this year's conference champs strong for next year.
For the clubs, last week the Drama Club held Broadway night to show full performances. Both students and members from throughout the community thoroughly enjoyed the show. Over 30 students represented Montville Township at DECA International Career Development Conference in Orlando, Florida a few weeks ago. Michaela Stein placed in the top 20 competitors in hotel and lodging management. Katie Altamari, Rachel Scudo, and Sean Spielberger placed in the top 10 teams in sports and entertainment marketing, operations, and research. Ethan Tuckman and Harrison Sun placed in the top 10 teams in sports and entertainment marketing team decision making. All 30 students represented our school in such a positive and professional way, and the trip was a huge success. The forensics team continued its postseason with a stellar performance this past Saturday. For the first time ever, the team competed in the Great Communicator Debates, which are sponsored by the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation. The foundation hosts 6 regional tournaments in the United States, with the top 2 students from each region qualifying to nationals. At the Northeastern Regional Tournament, which consists of 9 states, freshman Andrew Hung was an octo finalist, junior Alexandros Pandazis was a quarterfinalist, and Jay Surratt took home first place in the region, winning the final round in unanimous decision and completing the tournament with an undefeated record. With the victory, Jay earned an all-expense paid trip to Simi Valley, California this July. At the national tournament, Jay will battle against 11 others for the national championship and will take home prize money between $1,500 and $10,000. It should be an exciting event. Also, the forensics team will be competing at the National Catholic Forensics League Grand National Tournament in Fort Lauderdale this weekend. The team is excited for this weekend as they won the tournament last year.
Moving back to our school, the ShopRite Stars program is a program that recognizes student success and achievement in one of 5 different categories. Each marking period, new stars are nominated by faculty and staff and selected to represent the high school. As part of our participation in the program, ShopRite donates $1,000 to project graduation. The 4th marking period stars are in academics, Marcella Ferenzi, in athletics, Alex Rogers, in the arts, Jessica Zhang, community service, Rebecca Corbin, and in leadership, Ryan Chan. The The class of 2015 just concluded their annual sale of prom tickets. The event will be held at the Manor in West Orange on May 28th, and students or faculty members are equally excited for the midnight in Paris. Also, the senior class is excited to announce the senior breakfast will be the week after prom at the Crystal Plaza. Tickets are currently on sale, and everyone's getting excited for that as well. And lastly, Mr. Anthony Sia, a music and technology extraordinaire at the high school, has been named the Lakeland Hills YMCA Educator of the Year. Mr. Sia, who is the founder of the MTHS School of Rock, was honored at a dinner last week hosted by the YMCA, and the entire community high school congratulates Mr. Sia for his incredible dedication to all. He's remarkable. And lastly, going forward, AP tests are complete. The school year is winding down nicely.
It's a true senioritis now. And we've enjoyed having you. I know it's not your last meeting. We've really enjoyed having you come to our meetings and update us. You're very poised and professional and always give a very thorough update about what's happening in our exceptionally wonderful high school.
Jay, congratulations on your latest feat. That's competing on a national level like that is quite sensational. Good luck in July.
Thank you.
Okay, back to the agenda. Tonight's first agenda item is a resolution appointing a new superintendent. The words come out so easily, but the difficulty in getting us to this point cannot be underestimated. First, losing Dr. Freed to the salary cap has been extremely difficult and frustrating. Dr. Freed has effected extraordinary positive change in our schools, and there will be ample opportunity to celebrate Paul's 5-year tenure here. But tonight, we welcome his successor, Dr. Renee Rotar, an individual who is well aware of the challenges she faces accepting this position upon the departure of such a well-respected and admired predecessor. But Dr. Rotar embraces the challenge, confident that she will not only carry on a legacy, but create one of her own. The board has kept the community informed about the superintendent search process over the past several months. To briefly recap, we hired a search firm to help us navigate the process. They advertised, held focus groups, conducted surveys, reviewed and vetted applications, conducted preliminary interviews, and brought the board a slate of 9 candidates. The board interviewed all 9 and invited 4 back for a second interview. We were looking for a candidate with the qualities we so admire in Paul: a thoughtful, compassionate leader, one with a strong sense of fairness and humanism, and one who would build bridges and strong relationships with the staff, the community, and the board. We knew finding someone with all those qualities would not be easy, but we believed we found that someone in Dr. Rotar. Throughout the process, Dr. Rotar's application, credentials, and Dr. Rotar himself stood out above the rest. From her vast experience in education to her poised, calm, and understated demeanor, we knew we found someone to continue our journey to becoming a school district of distinction. To very briefly list some of Dr. Rotar's past experiences, she has served as a superintendent of schools for 10 years for both K-12 and K-8 districts. She served as Morris County Superintendent, acting Essex County Superintendent, and Morris County Business Administrator. Dr. Rotar has hosted and produced the cable network program in our schools. She has presented at NJSBA workshops, as well as NJASBO and NJASA workshops. She has also authored a variety of professional articles. Dr. Rotar is the recipient of several educational leadership awards and a member of a number of professional associations. It is with a great deal of pleasure that following her appointment, we introduce and extend a warm welcome to Dr. Renee Rotar as she joins the Montville Township community. And at this point, I will entertain a motion for item L3.1, which can be found on page 7 of the agenda. Charlie?
Second.
Second, Carmella. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Grau.
Yes.
Mrs. Novy.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Dr. Modrak.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Mr. Palmer.
Yes.
Dr. Kane.
Yes.
Dr. Corley.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, thank you. We will recess briefly. Congratulations to Dr. Okay, would you like to come up and say a few words? We'll put you on the spot right away.
I just want to thank the board for your support for this wonderful opportunity. I am excited to be joining an outstanding school district, one that has an excellent reputation. And I'm not sure that I can adequately fill Dr. Freed's shoes, but I will certainly try my best. And I am very much looking forward to joining you all in July. I want to thank all the folks who came out this evening to meet me. I've already met many of them. I look forward to working together with you as you have indicated, continue to make Montville a wonderful, exceptional, high-performing school district. And I look forward to giving my full effort to that effect. So thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, I'll recess. Order. Thank you, everyone, for extending such a warm welcome to Dr. Rothar. That was very nice. Okay, superintendent's report.
Hi, good evening, everyone. And Renee, welcome again. So I don't have any remarks this evening, but we do have a presentation. Every year, as the community is aware, I work with the Board of Education, along with our administrative team in central office and all of our administrators, to create goals for the district. And we've been working on those goals throughout the year. And tonight I'll be doing a brief presentation on the progress that we've made on our goals. Somewhere around mid-year, I did a preliminary presentation at that point, and tonight I will go a bit further and talk about where we are. So our board can stay at our table. We have our two screens available. Our first goal, as has been the case over the 5 years I've been here, is connected to student learning, our most important goal. And our first goal under student learning was to expand our original science research program and our humanities research program to provide greater access to these programs by our children. So I wanted to talk about that for a moment. Presently in our science research program, we have 9 seniors, 14 juniors, and 5 sophomores. And we expect next year's entering class, these are our present freshmen, who will be interested in entering the program to be somewhere between 12 and 16 students. So we anticipate about 32 students in next year's program. The plan for our high school administration is for those 32 students approximately to be in 2 sections. And as you can see, there's a small amount of sophomores due to attrition. We do hope that, of course, as time goes by, we are more consistent in each of those 3 grade levels, probably having somewhere between 40 and 45 students consistently in the program. We've seen great strides in the 3 years of this program. So the first graduating class is coming up this year. And we're very pleased with the the different kinds of contests they have entered and the kind of recognition that they received. Humanities research, as you know, has been an offshoot of the science research program. David Tubbs, our supervisor of humanities, just a little historical perspective, saw something special in that program, visited some of the science research classes, and came up with a research program in the areas of English and social studies. And so last year introduced the program and had found 2 teachers very interested in getting involved in this program, which really focuses on student engagement within the social studies and English curriculum. And we had 2 teachers teaching a total of 10 sections. For this present year, we've expanded upon that, as you know, and we've moved from 2 teachers to 12 different teachers who are teaching in the Humanities Research Program and 40 sections. Next year, through the budget process, they purchased additional Chromebooks and more interest on the part of our Montville Township High School teachers. We're expecting 21 teachers participating in 62 different sections. So we've seen wonderful growth. Again, focus on student engagement, which is, of course, one of my overall goals for the district. And these classes include both regular and special education. So we're very pleased with the progress in that area. Another one of our student learning goals focuses on our mathematics program throughout the district. And as I'm beginning to address that, I also want to note that Andrea Woodring, our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction, is intimately involved with all of these learning goals and oversees a great many of them. And want to certainly give her recognition for her great work working with our building principals and supervisors, directors in all of these areas. So in terms of our math program, we've done a lot of expansion in terms of professional development and even programmatically. So we have particular resources for special education students that have been expanded. So we have a variety of support programs for students, including Math Rocks at Lazard, which has 20 plus students involved. Next year, we have planned a math lab at our high school for special education students, as well as a math camp for our students with disabilities. The Envision Math program at our elementary level is going well, and workshops have been provided for teachers in that area. And also a variety of professional development opportunities for math programs both at Lazar and the high school, which include data analysis and articulation between schools. Our third goal in student learning is connected to the Montville Township High School Media Center. This project, which I think had been a gem of an idea from a variety of our parent leaders throughout the district over many years, and I see some of them sitting in our audience, is coming to fruition, and we're very, very pleased about this project, even though, of course, we haven't even begun it yet, but we're about to. We've had great involvement and participation in this project, everything from our parent leaders, as I mentioned, the Board of Education representatives, the students serving on the committee, teachers, our high school media specialists, central administration. So it's been a terrific project. I want to quickly recognize Doug Sanford for his leadership in this particular area. And so this project is moving ahead. We expect that the moment graduation is over, we will begin to move that project forward. We're certainly, Jim, I think we're closed this Friday. Am I correct? Things are going out to so advertising for the bid this Friday, giving it a few weeks to turn around, and then hopefully we'll have some bids to open and the project can be underway. We're hoping, of course, that things come in under the threshold that the board has set aside, And I particularly want to thank the Board of Education for their foresight in putting money into our capital reserve fund over the course of now third year, so that we in fact have the funding for this, and it can happen without a stress on the district's budget and happen in a way that is going to provide us, I think, with the state-of-the-art media center that will be a real asset to the high school particularly and to the school district and community for years to come. Our fourth goal is about our world language program. This has been an area of interest of mine since I got to the district, as I saw what, from my perspective, was the lack of interest by our students in world languages at our high school level. And we began to make some changes early on in terms of how we restructured some of our world language opportunities at our middle school. The elementary program, as you know, has been in flux. Everything from back in 2010, when our elementary world language teachers were eliminated due to the drastic budget crisis that the school district experienced through the state lack of funding at that point in time, and then us bringing the Rosetta Stone program into the district as a cost-effective way to bring elementary world language back. We had our trials and tribulations with that program in terms of technology, working on a reliable way, and then through the QSAC process, found out that it was preferred that we have real live teachers in front of our students for elementary world language as opposed to the electronic program. So we did put some of that in order this past year, and we do now have our elementary teachers teaching world language to our students on a weekly basis. So Andrew's been working with Lisa Howard, our supervisor of world languages in ESL, to put together a program for next year, which includes Spanish instruction specifically at our elementary level, and for our students who are already involved in Rosetta Stone in grades 4 and 5, 3, 4, and 5, will continue the Rosetta Stone program as well, since they're already involved in it. In the meantime, a couple of months ago, we convened a task force through a town meeting event focused on world language. So at the town meeting, we heard from a variety of parents and teachers who attended about their various perspectives connected to our world language program, both at our secondary schools as well as our elementary. We convened the task force, which has met several times, and in about a week, I'll be meeting with that task force to hear the results of the study that they've done on world language programs. Once I have that information, I'll be asking our task force to appear before the Board of Education and Community at one of our June meetings to present their findings, and potentially at that point I would make recommendations about the future of world language. So for next year, we already know what's been budgeted and what our plans are. So any initiatives that might come as a result of that task force work would potentially be coming to the district in the fall of 2016. But I'm excited about the fact that they have done this work and that they're ready to share their findings. The other thing I'd mention about world language is that there's been some strong interest on the part of parents to bring American Sign Language as a world language to our high school, particularly for our students with disabilities who perhaps can't access the four languages, the four world languages that we offer at this point, and who may be much more successful with sign language, American Sign Language. And I think it may be of special interest to all of our students. So this is something that I think the district is looking at and considering. Again, nothing would happen potentially until the fall of 2016 or beyond, but I know this is of great interest from our parents with students with disabilities, and something the board may be hearing about as we move forward. So we'll bring more information forward about that. Our fifth goal under student learning is an emphasis on professional development to improve staff effectiveness, resulting in excellent student achievement outcomes. So as the board knows, one of the things I talk about a lot having to do with teaching and learning has to do with both teacher effectiveness and student engagement. And under, again, Andrea's leadership, a lot of professional development took place this year. I won't read you every item, but I'll highlight some of those items. New teachers receiving training in our Danielson evaluation model before the school year began. Teachers receiving training on Chromebooks, which are being used widely throughout our schools. And next year we have more Chromebooks coming through our budget process, and certainly appreciate the board's support about that. All teachers trained in Google Docs and Google Apps for Education multiple times throughout the school year and on our district's professional development day. Elementary teachers receiving professional development on closed reading and text complexity. Training on new social studies resources for elementary teachers. Teachers receiving training on PARC assessments. Many teachers attending PARC workshops outside the district. Rosetta Stone training. Basic skills instruction, special education teachers receiving training on Just Words. We're about to embark on our elementary teachers receiving training from Teachers College on Lucy Calkins' Units of Study of Writing, which is a new program coming into the district. You may recall the budget process, bringing the writing program to elementary school. That's from Teachers College and Lucy Calkins' program. Just highlight one or two others. And counselors attending various workshops on social emotional well-being, HIP training, core team training, and a variety of college visits. And I'm particularly pleased with this one. A lot of college visits by our counselors to establish relationships with administration offices at colleges. We did talk about this a while ago, the fact that in order to gain acceptances at times to some of the various colleges throughout the nation, having colleges and admissions office getting to know our counselors is an important step. And I want to thank Leslie Scheckman, Director of Guidance, for really being aggressive about that and getting our counselors taking trips out to these colleges and universities to meet those admissions officers and establish those relationships. That's been very positive. Our next goal is to oversee and provide support in the area of special education, to provide excellent program students, as well as to ensure that we're complying with all laws and regulations. So the board will remember that we did experience some concerns in this area, and I think that we have been very much on top of this particular area. We accomplished, I think, to make gains in this area in two different ways. First, articulating clearly our high expectations for our special education teachers around the adherence to precise following of IEPs. And based on conversations I've had with parents this year and with our special education administrators, I think we have really done a great job in that area. And we've also strengthened particular areas around the district, like our inclusionary programs, and brought greater coordination and articulation to those programs. So I think all of that has helped strengthen our special education program, and I think our parents have really sensed a much more cohesive program that is in fact targeting more precisely their children's IEP needs. And our last student goal is about culture and climate in the district, and we have tackled a variety of issues over the years in this way, including homework, drugs and alcohol, student placement, competitions and contests. And one of the things that the board, I think, should feel very good at about is the fact that last year's budget and for this year, we in fact brought an additional student assistance counselor, additional SAC to our high school, bringing now 2 there, and I think that has been a terrific asset for our high school and our students. This year, the students created the Friends of Rachel group, and this has been going well. The area of homework around the district, I think, has, of course, will remain controversial probably forever, but I think it has improved in how things have been handled. And finally, the Youth Empowerment Alliance, the YEA program that the board heard about, has been approved by the board, and this group, through the United Way, will begin their work in the district this fall in October with workshops occurring in all 7 schools, and with the survey that they'll be sending out to all the various stakeholders throughout the district, including our parents, teachers, and so on. So I think all of these things lead to better culture and climate, and now through the YDA, we'll be doing that in a more systemic kind of way. Our second goal involves communication and community involvement. The Board Communication Committee working effectively with staff, students, parents, and community to foster a high level of confidence and involvement in the school. So, hot off the press, sent to me by Sue Marinello, back there, our Director of Communications. Sue just heard today that the Montville Township Public Schools has been informed that we'll receive a 2015 award from New Jersey School Public Relations Association. The award is in the category of social media, and our social media sites were launched in March of 2014, and here we are, just a little more than a year later, receiving an award for, and Sue, you deserve an enormous amount of credit for this. Sue's fine work in this area in particular, so we're very, very pleased. So our district communications officer has been a really terrific addition, and I compliment the board for allowing that position to be introduced into the school district. So we're connected, of course, to Facebook, to Twitter. She's done a great job publicizing our district and school events, maintains a positive relationship with the media across our community, across Morris County and the state. In addition, as I mentioned before, we've held several town meetings. One, as you know, of course, in the area of world language, another on kind of anything you'd like to discuss. Those are always interesting, but I enjoy doing those. We've really showcased our students here in front of the Board of Education, which I think is also a very positive thing to do in terms of communication. We've seen great things going on. The website remains an area that we need to focus on. Sue and I today were talking about that a bit. We know this is an area that still needs improvement, and I know that Sue had a huge meeting with Austin today, Austin Thompson, our technology manager, to really talk about that and to look at ways that we can in fact make that a more a vehicle of greater communication. So all in all, I think we've done a very nice job, and I want to thank Matt Kane for heading up our communications committee and bringing all of this forward as well. So I think it's been a good year, and I think we'll continue in this way going forward. The area of human resources, which is overseen by Casey Shorter, our assistant superintendent. He had the pleasure to work through the teacher and principal evaluation system over the last 2 years, and he has done a terrific job with that. We know this is something that, of course, is of high interest to our teachers, our administrators. It's an area that makes people nervous. And I think Casey has brought clarity to the process, has brought calm to the process. He's worked very well with with our teacher leaders and Peter Porter, the president of the NTEA, in terms of this area, has helped solve problems, and I think has helped a situation that can cause a great deal of anxiety with the student growth objectives and all of that, brought a lot of calm to that area. So we appreciate that. And Casey also works with our district policy committee, bringing policies, revisions, and leading that group forward. And again, we appreciate the board's support through that as well. So, and finally, the area of business practices. Jim Tevis, our business administrator, oversees that area and creating responsible initiatives to support students, staff, and community in the area of business operations. And Jim, as always, has done a terrific job of managing not just the present budget, but as bringing us through this year's budget process and bringing a healthy budget before the community for next year. So once again, we are in good financial shape as we approach 2015-2016 school year. And again, having the foresight to work with the board and our capital reserves, bringing our media center project forward. This year we also had a perfect audit, which is very unusual, and I know that we've had congratulations for Jim and his staff about that. So I was in the room when the auditor presented those findings, and the auditor himself was quite impressed. So congratulations on that. And that audit had no recommendations. And I think Jim does an insightful job of planning for the future, and so we can keep ourselves in good financial shape going forward. Okay, so that's the end of my goals update for the end of the year, and I certainly opened up the Board of Education questions, and then Karen for the community as well.
Good.
Paul, quick question. You mentioned that the science research program, we had a rather large attrition of sophomores. I was wondering, was there a reason for that? Do you have any clue?
I don't have a specific reason. I don't know if Andrea has more information about that she could share. I'm not sure. I think that it's an interesting phenomenon. I think that, and I've talked on and off about this with the board and with parent groups as well at times. There's a sense among at least some of our students, our high achieving students, that there's a formula when you go to high school that brings you to a certain place. And a big part of that formula, I think, includes, for some people, a lot of AP classes. And I think for some of our kids, because the science research program was fairly new, that they thought perhaps leaving that program and taking more AP classes would be the way to get into that formula. My perspective is 180 degrees different. I believe that this program, our humanities research program, offers a unique perspective about student engagement and more mentored learning. And I think that's what colleges are looking for. They're looking for those differences. They're not bright kids all over the country are loading up on AP classes. So Sandy Schwartz, our supervisor of humanities, science and math, has really done a nice job in speaking to kids and parents about that. I think we have to promote that program in perhaps a different kind of way to some extent. I have a lot of examples, as you know, from my previous experiences, and even the district where I live, where these kinds of programs, in fact, make the difference for kids being recognized. So there's no one right way, but I certainly think that leaving the science research program to take an additional AP class is not, in fact, the answer. But I think in that particular group, we found kids who, in fact, thought that was the route to go.
Yeah, I will mention for any students that happen to watch the video later that research is not like an AP class. what you learn in research is vastly greater and more inclusive. It's a really different experience. And it really does make you a much more well-rounded person to be able to do a research program instead of just sitting there and studying a book. A book is just a lot of dry facts, but research, you really put it into practice and it becomes alive that way. I encourage people to join this research program because I know that it's a great thing.
Director Jim, actually. You said the library's going out to bid this week?
Yes, submitting the advertisement to bid.
If somehow or other we don't get an acceptable bid this time around, what does that do to our timeline?
I think we'll still be okay. I mean, it's going to push it back probably a few weeks by the time we're turning around in terms of the construction, but we're not looking to be finished by the end of August anyway. That was never the goal. We're looking to finish sometime in the fall. So I think we'll be okay.
I just have a couple of comments. One, I'll plug the original science research programs. I think they're having their bulletin board display on June 10th. Yes?
Yes, there's a symposium.
There's a symposium on June 10th at the high school. So might as well advertise early and often.
Yes, June 10th.
The other item I wanted to comment on is we're all very excited about the media center at the high school, and many people deserve a lot of credit for making this happen. And one person I did not want to leave out was our former board member, Jackie Ritchell, because she's, from the board's perspective, it was Jackie who said, we really can put more than the very generous offer of $10,000 or $20,000 from the PTC. We really can do more than that. And she, I think, sparked all of us to say to ourselves, we can do more than that, and we should do more than that, and we found a way to do more than that. So I did want to just recognize Jackie. And in terms of communication and the wonderful things that Sue Marinello has brought to the district, I didn't want to leave out the two programs. I think they're the In Our Schools programs on Channel 12.
Classroom close-up.
Close-up. Classroom close-up. Thank
On
you.
Channel 8.
Classroom close-up, Channel 8. We've now showcased two of our programs here in Montville. One of them that was our middle school, the TV production program, and the second one is coming up. I think they're filming, but it won't be aired until sometime in the fall, and that's our humanities program. So really, Sue's the one that put the word out there that these programs exist in our schools, and so I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. And today, we found out our third one is definitely being filmed in July.
There you go. Thank you. Any other comment before? Okay, anyone in the public want to comment on the goals presentation? Okay, thank you. Any report, Mr. Stevens, from the business end?
No report this evening.
Are there any committee reports? Finance, curriculum, policy, education? Delegate liaison reports. I did attend the delegate assembly on Saturday down in West Windsor, and just very briefly, New Jersey school boards will be moving their annual meeting back to the May-June timeline. They just found that it works better for continuity. They had an issue this year where a nominated officer actually lost their election. So the issue of having them do the annual meeting in January became a problem. So they're moving it actually back to May and June. And the officer election will coincide with the annual meeting. There was a resolution which would have directed New Jersey school boards to petition the legislature to allow school boards to reorganize within a week or so, 2 weeks of the election. It was narrowly defeated. So I wanted to give that report. Are there any other delegate liaison reports?
Actually, just one quick one from DHC. Project graduation is quickly coming up on June 23rd this year, and the MTHS School of Rock is going to be hosting a concert and festival actually on Saturday, June 6th. All proceeds will go to benefit project graduation for the kids this year, and as it's on the Saturday, it will be more than just current students at the School of Rock, but past alumni as well.
Thank you, Michael.
Just following up, I've done project graduation now, I think, about 10 or 11 years in a row, and I just encourage all the board members and everyone else who maybe to show up, help out if they can. It's just a great experience. It's the celebration of 4 years of high school, and it's just a chance to see everybody really just kind of let their hair down in a good, clean environment. It's a lot of fun.
I eat the hamburgers that Michael makes every year.
Mike?
Yeah, 2 items I'd like to, if I could go back for just a minute to your report on New Jersey school boards. I just wanted to comment that on the 13th, my colleague, Mr. Nodrak, and I were fortunate enough to go to New Jersey School Boards Association workshops at Mount Links. And I thank our business administrator for signing this up. Now, although the topic generally was finance, okay, I have to say it was one of the most enlightening 2 hours that I have spent. I could have stayed another, not 2 hours, another hour, okay, and the amount of notes that I took, it just wasn't finance from a purely finance point of view. It had labor relations, tenure, they talked about so many different, about the cap, okay, some things about the cap that I honestly did not completely understand reserve on the cap. So I just wanted, I thought it was a real, I don't know how you felt, I thought it was an excellent, interactive workshop that went where the people felt they needed to go, or the audience. Where we wanted to go, they took us there, and then gradually brought us back into where they were at. But I thought it was one of the best workshops I've been to. It was really, really worthwhile. I also have another report, the Mustangs, if you can do that. The Mustangs last meeting was on May the 6th, and something I'd like to just bring up now that it's getting near the end of the year. When you go to the Mustang meetings, between the report given by the athletic director and by the principal, okay, I cannot begin to tell you how much you learn at that meeting. I feel like I'm on a learning curve here or something. Okay, their reports really are detailed. You find out a lot by going to that meeting. Okay, that's the first thing. I wanted to mention also that the Mustang Banquet is coming. For those that are unaware, the Mustang Banquet is on June 15th. It's a Monday. It's at the Hanover Man. Okay, and the last thing, this is something that's been in the wings for a while, and I guess our business administrator will know more about it later on. But eventually, the sale of the bricks is going to come up, that project. And I guess it's going to be more in the fall. But I think it's something maybe you want to tell us that. But it's something I think people want to get involved in, because I know I want a brick, and I'm sure there are lots of other people that want to get their brick, if not in the wall, in the floor, okay, with their family on it. So maybe you.
Yeah, I just quickly comment. I actually had a meeting this afternoon over at the high school with Cheryl Matrop, who's heading that up for the Mustangs. So I met with the high school principal and facilities manager myself, and we mapped that plan, the basic layout. So what we're trying to do is get us to a point where they can start to potentially start selling at least some of the bricks by the 4th of July celebration. I mean, we wouldn't implement the actual, first laying out of the bricks probably.
So it will be on sale
Spring.
before the fall. It will be on sale.
Yeah, we're hopeful that maybe we can get a plan in place. They're pretty good shape. I just had some questions and I had a little bit of homework that I set aside, but probably hopefully within the next 3 or 4 weeks we can sign off on an actual plan. Pretty close.
Thank you.
How are they going to publicize that? The Mustangs, you know how they're going to publicize the sale of the bricks?
That was not clear to me, because they were saying that meeting, which you said took place today, had to take place first, and then the publicizing is going to take place. And did you say they're going to sell them at the 4th of July?
Yeah, they're looking to start at the 4th of July celebration. Will be one venue to get it out. And one of the suggestions that I said was when I had the contractor who's going to be, implementing it, was that he's going to probably rope it off and stake it out. And I said, maybe we could use some of those pictures, blow them up, put them on a poster board, give at least the public an idea and the community an idea of what it would look like, in product. Take a little Photoshop and fill it in with papers, just to help, sell it.
Sounds like a great project. Really does. Something a lot of people would be interested in being part of. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Rod?
Yeah, Karen, just a couple things. One is, since we're throwing around some dates, June 13th is a Relay for Life. I know I volunteered in the cooking, which is a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know which. But it is June 13th, right, Terry?
Yes.
We're at the high school, so I'm sure that they're looking for supporters, they're looking for walkers, so I would expect everyone here to be in attendance. No, I'm not going to feed you though. The other thing, last night, I attended the National Honor Society induction. Very, very nicely done. I think it's one of the largest group of youngsters we've ever had inducted, approximately 60. First class ceremony as ever, and it just, I think 4 board members, well, I know 4 board members here, Matt, Mike, Karen, and myself. Doug Sanford gave some remarks, and Andrea made some nice closing remarks. And it was just a very, very positive evening, and the parents were really, really excited, and it was something that I was happy to be in, and I would encourage as many people next year to go as possible.
Yep, I don't think I've missed one yet, Charlie. They're very moving events,
Yeah.
especially the candle lighting ceremonies. Anyone else? Okay, there was actually, Michael, you might want to dovetail right into what Charlie said about relay.
Once Charlie announced Relay for Life is coming up, and since I couldn't get us all together on the volleyball court in time to support the Heat Club this year, I mentioned to Karen to see if there would be any interest in the board forming a team for Relay this year, which I would be happy to coordinate. If anyone is interested in signing up.
I will be.
I see a lot of people nodding, so put us down as Board of Ed.
You got it. I'll register a team and send that.
You can think of a name. Anyone else? I'm sorry, Mike? Yes, go right ahead, jump right into that.
I attended the Woodmont PTA meeting, and I was at the Woodmont Fun Fair last Friday also. Again, it's another great event back when I was at Woodmont Dad slashing the burgers over there. But it's always a good time. Just congratulations, it's very successful. And Mr. Esposito made a very good target for the dunk tank.
Anyone else with any PTC liaison reports? Okay, any negotiation updates? Okay, I'll open it up to the public for items on the agenda. Items on the agenda.
Good evening, Madam President.
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Madam President, Superintendent, Vice President, everyone on the board. This is my first time here, so I'm not really sure if it's protocol for me to talk about the food service workers.
We're going to have a second public participation, and then you can talk about whatever you would like to.
Okay.
This is for the items that we're about to take action on,
Okay, thank you.
and which we should get through very quickly. Anyone else? Items on the agenda? Okay. In that case, motion, please, for items J to O, including the addendum.
So moved.
And, right, leave out the addendum that appointed, leave out the item that L.3.1. Okay, that was Charlie, and who else? Second, David. Okay, any questions on J? Okay? Let's see. Oh, on item K4, the use of facilities, Jim, and I don't know, Paul as well, I would like to thank you for recommending to the board that we waive the fees for the Morris Rugby Corporation, the running event in honor of Jimmy Gibson. Yeah, thank you. Anything else on K? L?
May I make a comment regarding L?
Of course.
Like,
Which one, Mike?
L.
All of L?
Personnel? Okay. Like many people in education, out of education, connected to education, many of us read the paper on Sunday and immediately go to the ads in the career section and we'll see which districts are advertising and so on. And I recall that our ad, we had a nice ad on the front of the paper a number of weeks ago. And it said, see our ad inside, and we had an ad. And I recall that a number of times Dr. Freed said to us, it's best to get out there early. Okay? And as I look through the ads each week, okay, I'm reminded of the comment. I think it was very positive. It reminds me of the Civil War general who said, get there firstest with the mostest. And it seems to me, hopefully, that that's what we did. As the ads each week seem to expand, I see the wisdom of your idea of getting out there first to get the cream of the crop, so to speak. And I just want to make a comment on that good advice. As I see it, it was good advice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Any other comments on L?
With regard to J3 on the addendum, Carol Lazar, there is a dedication for a courtyard, and that you talked to that for a second, why that's being dedicated.
Yeah, I was approached by the administration at the middle school. As you know, our middle school is named after Robert Lazar. This is a donation by family members. Family member on behalf of Carol Lazar Snyder, who passed away recently. The family made a donation. The middle school thought it was in keeping to take a courtyard within the middle school and to dedicate it to her memory with the money that the family had donated. So they've done some upgrades to that area and thought it was fitting to name that small courtyard in her memory.
Maybe sometime later we can talk and explain to me how the naming convention goes. I'm not entirely sure why it's being dedicated to her, other than donation.
Any other comments on the amendments? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Grau?
Yes.
Dr. Modrak?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Novy?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
And Dr. Portolino?
Yes, except abstain on check number 479-077.
Motion's passed.
So, let's see, just under additional reports, Paul and I did attend the MTA retirement dinner, and it's always, I think it's always a bittersweet event, and teachers always agonize over retiring. They really love what they do, and you can see how much they mull it over and mull it over and mull it over. So I just wanted to give a shout out to all of our teachers, and in particular those who retired. There's quite a list of them in their retirement. And I mean, not to take away anything from the evening, but certainly a highlight of the evening was Mr. Ruff doing his alcohols. One of them in particular was quite remarkable. The other thing I wanted to mention was the successful passage in the State Senate of S. 1987. It's a bill that would restrict the Department of Education from setting setting a limit on the salary of the superintendent. It's late. I won't get into all the nitty-gritty of it, but there will be an assembly bill, certainly at some point. That'll probably pass. But anyone who is close to the State House knows that it'll probably get vetoed by the governor. I'll mention that Ray Penny interviewed Stephen Sweeney recently, and you can find it on the NJSBA website under, I think the section is called Education Matters, and they're little snippets of videos that Ray has done interviewing various people. As I said, the latest interview is Steve Sweeney at around the 10-minute mark. If you don't want to watch the whole interview, Mr. Sweeney does talk about the cap and how it really needs to go away, that we're losing talent to other states, and talent doesn't want to rise to the level of superintendent, how damaging, he says it's damaging. And so it's nice to know that the State House is beginning to give recognition to this issue, which is affecting many school districts and has affected many school districts throughout the state. It's redundant. We already have a 2% tax levy cap. The time for it to go away is now. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. I know the board is aware, and probably most of you in the audience are aware.
Karen,
Yes.
on that bill that passed the Senate, unfortunately, it hasn't even been scheduled for a vote yet.
No, the Assembly bill has not been scheduled, not been
So
posted.
I can see, we're approaching the end of 2015. The bill supposedly sunsets in 16. By the time they vote, and it's vetoed, if it is vetoed, all of a sudden we're back to 16 again. I think it's important that they do have the votes. It's interesting, we got the information from New Jersey school boards. It's interesting to see how each of the senators voted, and especially those that were not there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think our representative was not there to cast a vote yea or nay. And I know Karen, you and the committee, I know some parents had met with our senator, and I don't know what the reason was, but it's interesting when you look at who voted yea and not present.
Yeah, it is interesting. Actually, Charlie, on Friday I stopped by Senator Panaccio's office to try and convince him to vote yes. His father passed away, and so he did say he wouldn't be there on Monday, but he said that he wasn't in support of the bill anyway. It was also interesting to see some of the senators that we had visited throughout Morris County who voted no. But nevertheless, it passed, and I think Charlie's right that what it's going to take for the cap to ultimately be eliminated is someone else sitting in the governor's seat. So
We as a board have voiced our opposition to the superintendent superintendent salary cap. We went down to the Department of Education, spoke to individuals down there, but at least there is positive. There is some movement on a statewide level against it, and it's nice to see someone like Mr. Sweeney speaking out as he is.
Okay, any other additional reports, report comments? We have our Relay for Life team. I think we have to pay $10 each, right? Okay, board members, $10 to be a member of the Relay for Life team. Pay Michael. Okay?
Not you, Karen.
Not me, pay Michael.
Karen, I did.
We'll get a receipt for that, or?
If you wish.
Renee, you can join
I'll
us.
take $5.
It's free this year,
Tell
but we'll take your money. But it is free. It's free to come to Relay.
Karen, I did want to mention that this past Thursday at Bazaar was the Living Lessons program, which I've talked about. I am sure that other people in this room were at Living Lessons. I heard you were there, and this was Dr. Freed. The administrative team, Living Lessons. Charlie, you were there. I didn't see you. I was only there a couple of hours, but every couple of years, Bazaar hosts a program. It's for individuals who have had traumatic, life-threatening, financial or other calamities, physical as well, and hearing their stories. One of the stories that I was riveted to, and was most important, not me, but the students were riveted to, was the story of a 20-year-old individual who had lived through the Aurora theater, Aurora, Colorado theater shooting, and his battles for life and his existence afterwards. Wonderful program. It's wonderful that that's the support that it gets, and it'll happen again in 2 years at Bazaar. And also wanted to thank Derek Lynn and Judy Bowell for they're the organizers of the program. They just did a fabulous, continue to do a fabulous job each 2 years.
Okay, if there are any more board comments, I will open it up to the public for anything you'd like to talk about. Just please state your name and where you live, and speak. And we do have a 5-minute limit.
Okay. My name is Shirley Newell. I live in Trenton, New Jersey, and I'm representing 32BJ SEIU on behalf of Montville Food Service Department. Basically, it has been said and emailed to you by Edith Valenciano. She is our union rep. She does the contracts, the negotiations, and pretty much I have a packet here for each of you for review at your own leisure. And all 5 of the articles that Pontonian has been found legally responsible for is in that packet. I just wanted to read this brief note here. As you know, 32BJ represents the food service workers who are now employed by Pontonian Food Services to provide cafeteria services to our school district. We have been in bargaining with Pontonian for the past 8 months. Unfortunately, despite repeated meetings, we have not been able to successfully reach an agreement with which maintains at least the same wage and benefit standards previously enjoyed by food service workers. Pontonian Food Service is an irresponsible contractor with a long history of disregard for its legal obligations. An administrative law judge of the National Labor Relations Board, NLRB, found Pontonian violated federal law, and region of the NLRB has repeatedly found merit in charges that Pontonian violated federal law and the rights of its employees. You should carefully consider whether a contractor with this kind of record sets the kind of example that belongs in your school district. Attach the documents concerning Pontonian's problematic history before the NLRB. Attachment 1, on March 7, 2014, Administrative Law Judge Lauren Esposito found that Pontonian violated the National Labor Relations Act by unlawfully denying its employees at the Verona School District the right for their union for union representation. Pontonian unlawfully withdrew recognition from and unlawfully refused to bargain with the employees' union, SEIU, Local 32BJ. Rather than bargain with the union in accordance with the judge's decision, Pontonian chose to appeal the decision, delaying the day when the employees will have their lawful right to union representation. The judge's decision is attached also. Attachment 2, March 2010, Region 22 of the NLRB found merit to charge that Pontonian unlawfully denied workers their union, ceased pension fund contributions, and violated the NLRA in other ways in South Orange Maplewood School District. Rather than face trial, Pontonian settled charges. The settlement agreement is attached also. Attachment 3, Pontonian entered into a separate settlement agreement in case number 22CA 29637 in 2011 concerning his failure to bargain in good faith with the South Orange Maplewood School District. Pontonian delayed providing the union with information necessary to bargain, and the NLRB's notice to employees, part of the settlement, is attached. Attachment 4, Region 22 of the NLRB has found merit in certain charges against Pontonian that the Springfield School District, specifically, that it has refused to bargain in good faith with the employees' union, SEIU, Local 32BJ, and unlawfully failed to pay a wage increase and provided their benefits. The charge is attached. The region will issue a complaint absent settlement on those allegations, and we recently sat with Pontonian and the provider got up and walked out of negotiations. Attachment number 5, Region 22 has found merit in certain charges against Pontonian at the Montville School District that it terminated employees in violations of the National Labor Relations Act and refused to bargain in good faith with the employees' union. SEIU Local 32BJ in 2014, the charge is also attached. The region will issue a complaint absent settlement on these allegations, so we will inform you of any future developments of these cases. Sincerely, Kevin Brown. And these are the attachments here for this, and our concern is for responsible contractors for our Montville School District. They've been here some 30 years, and all we're asking is for them to comply and to give these women what they've been used to. We haven't asked for anything else different, but they haven't done that. Is there any questions from our board about this? So I can hand you these documents.
Sure, you can. Well, first of all, thank you for coming all the way up from Trenton to represent food service workers. You could leave that actually with Ms. Woodring, yep, and she'll get it to our board secretary, and he'll make sure that each of us gets it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
Good evening. Pete Porter, I'm the president of the Montville Township Education Association. I've deliberately waited a while to say a few things about Dr. Freed. My June schedule gets a little crazy, as some of you on this board already know, because I dash off to National History Day and do a few other things. So I chose this meeting way in advance before I knew Dr. Rovetar was going to be introduced tonight, so I apologize a little bit that I'm intruding on your welcome. But I wanted to take a minute to recognize the incredible job that Dr. Freed has done. The association truly appreciates the fact that under Dr. Freed's tenure, we were able to come to an understanding in which a dialogue was created between the two groups. I have been fortunate in my life and in my career to work with several individuals that I've used the word mentor. And mentor is not a word I use lightly. In the Marine Corps, I was blessed with an officer who kind of took me under his wing and really made sure I saw the ropes, not just of my life in the Marine Corps, but my life overall. And I've been blessed at Seton Hall to have a similar relationship with another professor that was really important in my career. And now I add Dr. Paul Freed to that list. It has been incredible to work with Paul. He has taught me a lot in how he conducts himself, how he respects other people, how how he truly shows a vision for what he sees for education. And I may not always agree with Dr. Fried's vision, but the fact that we can engage in an open dialogue and discuss different ideas and come to an understanding that, okay, so we don't agree, it's not something that's personal, has really, I think, been a fortunate development for Montville. And I think it's really begun a change in the culture that I hope will continue. So I would like to personally thank Paul for all he's done for Montville, for the wonderful years I've been able to work with him, and I wish him all the best in his future endeavors, and a little bit jealous of his new union president who will get to continue and develop that relationship. So I'd like to thank Paul for all his time and really applaud him for everything he's done for the district. Thank you.
Peter, thank you, and I'd be remiss not to also say that I've absolutely appreciated the candor that we've had with one another and your openness and thoughtfulness as we've worked together to solve problems. So I think your leadership is a real asset to the association, and I hope that will continue. Thank you.
Well, I think if any one of us starts talking about Dr. Fried now, it would not be a good idea. Is there anyone else that wants to speak?
My name is Ma Ching Han. I live in Montville. My address is 7 Chambers Road. I have one question regarding the public complaints. For the post level, is there any exception or is there any defined scope for what will not be heard So as say, in what kind of case it will not be heard by the board?
Can you repeat the question?
Can you repeat the question?
Stand a little closer to the microphone, please. Don't hear the words.
Is there any defined scope for the hearing from the board? Say, if there's a complaint, is there any case, what kind of case will not be heard by the board?
What kind of case will not be heard by the board?
I'd have to look at policy, Mr. Hahn, and get back to you on that.
Because when I read the policy 9130, any kind of public concerns could be presented and requested here. So I think there's no exception, right?
I don't know. Yeah, we would have to get back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is anyone else? Okay.
Move we adjourn.
Adjourn. I need a motion to adjourn. Thank you.